Hi everybody. So we're starting off this video by um, a couple of steps in the chapter that we just kind of overlooked. They're easy ones. Uh, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be attaching some pass-throughs to the firewall, right? So as we discussed before, you know, um, the engine's on the front of the firewall, the fuel's behind it. So you got to pass at least the fuel through the firewall, but there's a lot of other stuff that you need to pass as well. You need to pass some electricity because the batteries are in the front. You got to pass like your manifold pressure wire for the gauge. That's got to go through, and yeah, there's quite a few things that go through. If we're honest. And so Van sends these really nice, stainless steel welded up pass-throughs that go through the firewall. So it's actually a two-piece. There's one seal on each side, and a couple of screws and nuts. It's nice because you can easily remove them if you need to repair them. I mean, you don't have to. I mean, I don't know why you'd have to repair them. I mean, they're stainless steel. Uh, so what we will do is we're going to use some firewall sealant on them, which is kind of what you see me. There you go, getting prepped right there. Thing about that firewall sealant is after you're done using it, it doesn't come with a cap, right? And any sealant that's left out in the open just starts to oxidize and harden. So it's a pain in the butt because if it hardens inside the tip of the tube, you've got to get it out somehow, and there's really no way. You kind of like push it in with a steel nail, but then the hard piece just winds up clogging it again. So kind of just force it out. There you can see the two pass-throughs. I've glooped on a little bit of extra firewall sealant on top of them. And anything that goes through, I mean, there will be sealant around those, or at least some boots. Probably boots and sealant. I mean, because you don't want, noxious fumes and vapors and leaking carbon monoxide to just come porting through your firewall and sicken everybody. So once we do them, we're going to now start working on these cabin vents. So you saw me pull out that long piece of hinge before. So the hinge that you use for this is just a stainless steel hinge that makes a flap. And you've got a couple of doublers. And there's a couple of pieces of stainless steel for the flap. And then you attach the hinge to it and you put it in place. Well, I may have screwed one up. And that was entirely my fault, and I will completely admit to that one. That you shouldn't do that. That was my bad. As well as pointing the camera towards the sun. So what I'm doing right here, so the hinge that you use, it's only 3 inches wide for each one, and you have a piece of pin that goes through them. Now the actual flap mechanism holds that pin into place, so you don't have to worry about it. But I still don't like it sliding back and forth. So what you saw me doing was heating up the edge of the hinge pin with a little torch and then banging it with a mallet to kind of create a little flat spot. And once all that is ready, you can rivet away. So in the last video, I promised to detail a big mistake, and this is kind of a rant against myself, just a miniature one. So to myself, go f myself. There's a piece that so there's a stiffener that I was supposed to add many pages ago, and it's actually a piece that goes between the center console walls, kind of underneath where the fuel selector is going to be. And I completely overlooked that step. Here's a picture of the little bracket and where it's supposed to go here from the plans. So what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to rivet the sidewall onto the front skins, and then before you cleco on the front bulkhead, you're supposed to put this on because it's the only time you're going to have access to it. In a second here, you're going to see me change the camera position, and my friend Shannon comes by while I'm kind of working on it. In the next video, I promise to explain it more, and I will actually show you pictures of how I was able to fix it, and how I was damned lucky to be able to do so. You really got to be careful. In fact, there's another example of that even later. Anyway, thank you for joining me. See you soon.